And we're back with another episode of Big Apple Breakdown. Today, we have our Super Bowl winner. The Jets move on from Aaron Rodgers and a preview of the Giants offseason. Henry, you ready?
Yes, sir. As always, remember, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our socials. Big Apple Breakdown on pretty much everything.
All right, so the Super Bowl was Sunday. Obviously, I assume everyone here watched it. Eagles dominated the Chiefs, one that the show did not see coming. Henry, what are your first thoughts about this game, just overall?
Honestly, I was in utter shock. But then when you look back at how the Bucs beat the Chiefs when they played in the Super Bowl, really, it's not that surprising. Vic Fangio kind of dialed up the same thing, didn't blitz at all. I guess he blitzed on one play, but it got called back. But really didn't blitz at all. Got to Mahomes with four guys, and that is the formula to beat Mahomes, is what it seems.
So, yeah, obviously last week I picked the Chiefs. I said there was a 0% chance the Chiefs would win. And, yeah, I was shocked right from the get-go. The Eagles were just the better, more dominant team. Really just a terrible Super Bowl. I mean, the game was not entertaining. This could be one of those Super Bowls where I really don't really look back on it and remember much. Not a memorable one at all. And, those GOAT debates are done for now. It's going to take
a little
he
pause
needed
on
a three-peat, so to me, it's going to take another 3 to 4 years before he really enters this, at least.
One thing I want to say is Steeler fans envisioned this a couple years ago. Kenny Pickett kneeling down a Super Bowl victory. They knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah, who saw that coming? So
I know.
The overhit of 2.5 players to throw a pass, no trick plays, but the second team was in for the Super Bowl. This game was 34-0. The score makes it look closer than what it actually was, 40-22. It was a blowout.
And one of the most surprising things about this, I feel like, is, teams have games like this. Mm-hmm. But the Chiefs, the one time they have a game like this in the last 2 years or so, comes in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. Also, another thing I saw is that the Eagles have put out 2 three-peats. The last time they beat the Patriots, it was in the middle of 2 Super Bowl wins, and then they obviously stopped this three-peat from happening.
When a team like the Chiefs gets most of the time gets the luck on their side, they find ways to win, and I guess this just happens sometimes. Just for them, it sucks. It was in the Super Bowl. You had a chance to three-peat, and you'll never get this chance again. I can't say I'm confident that the Chiefs will ever have a chance to three-peat again, just because that's so hard to do in the sport. And the Chiefs got blown out twice in the Super Bowl. First the Brady, now this, and I know last week we said on the show that Mahomes' legacy really can't be affected by this. However, losing twice in the Super Bowl by that much, definitely it felt like, the Brady, Mahomes cuff was climbing. Pause. Come back down here. Let's relax. Maybe later, but right now.
Also, there's something to be said about Brady's first 2 Super Bowl losses that he lost in a one-score game. Mahomes, in his first 2 Super Bowl losses, got just totally blown out.
Yeah, Brady's defenses played better in those games because the Giants weren't scoring too much, but I never felt like Brady ever played bad in a Super Bowl. I felt like Mahomes played really bad. The Chiefs, the first half stats were just horrid. Horrible.
I don't think they got over the 50-yard line until the third quarter. Stuff like that.
Yeah, it was awful. They couldn't move the ball. They couldn't protect Mahomes. That's how both these Super Bowls have gone. If you get pressure on Mahomes, you could win. And, it's similar to Brady, I guess, because the Giants won 2 Super Bowls off getting pressure on him.
And he got sacked 6 times. We just don't really see this happen. Also, he kind of padded his stats a little bit towards the end.
Oh, yeah.
They started off the
Stats
game.
Don't mean anything.
Yeah, oh, yeah. They started off the game with that 10-yard pass to Juju Smith-Schuster and the penalty against the Eagles. And in a sense, it was a little bit here we go. This is going to be a game. And then the Eagles just totally blew the doors off of it. And that's the way people have to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Our teams let the Chiefs come back into games. They make mistakes. The Eagles left nothing in doubt. Hurts had that one interception, and it was kind of early. And in my head, I'm the Chiefs. It seemed like the Eagles were already dominating. And after that, I was like, oh, here come the Chiefs. And they just didn't.
It felt like the Chiefs were going to catch on. They didn't. It was too little too late.
That was the Eagles' first turnover since the second Washington game in the regular season.
I mean, that's nuts. They just dominated through the playoffs. The Rams were the only close game. And I got to eat my pride a little bit. Obviously, I'm a Giants fan, so I hate the Eagles. But I got to congratulate them.
If someone told you that Saquon was going to have 57 rushing yards. And
you'd have thought they lost.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Hurts proved his worthy. I mean, this guy is a Super Bowl MVP. And he deserves to be ranked up there with the top-tier quarterbacks.
You think he does with Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar Jackson?
That's like an elite tier. I'm not going to go that far, but he's right below that. But, what he has, what all those guys but Mahomes have is a Super Bowl.
I was just about to say that.
So who cares? Who cares?
He's not Allen, Burrow, or Jackson, but it doesn't matter because he has what they want to have. And this roster is built perfectly that he doesn't have to do the type of things that those guys have to do. And, it kind of sucks for them, but this roster is just built perfectly around Jalen Hurts. And
I had a failed hate watch. The Eagles won, and this is how sports is sometimes. I mean, the Giants really had the worst season in their franchise history. What could go wrong really went wrong and worse. Saquon's a Super Bowl champion. But, I got to eat my pride. Congrats to the Eagles. I was wrong. And congrats to one of my friends, Jake Lewis, who's a big Eagles fan. You never want to hate on one of your good friends' team winning it all. Because, if my team won it all, I wouldn't want my friends to be like, blah, 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 just saying a bunch of bullshit to piss you off.
We were watching the game with Max Machado. He was very happy. And I was happy
that
for
my
him.
friends are happy that their team won the Super Bowl.
I also want to say something about Devontae Smith. He has one of the craziest resumes of a wide receiver, 26-year-old ever. Obviously, a wide receiver is never going to win MVP. And he never is even close to that conversation. But he was one of the most dominant wide receivers we've ever seen in college. He won the Heisman. He won the national title twice. That 2020 season, he won a slew of different awards, excluding the Heisman. He even won that, like I just said. He's the only player drafted from Alabama to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's kind of slanted.
Because Jalen Hurts scored a touchdown 2 years ago. But that's still crazy. I'm not going to lie.
He already has 2 1,000-yard seasons in his first 4 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's an insane resume. And he's not
like a Randy Moss, generational talented player like that, but he's a very, very good player.
He just has all these accolades. It's insane.
And I mean, the Eagles are going to be poised to just do this again. I think they're only Howie Roseman's only going to add to that roster. They've already been linked to Myles Garrett, which that's crazy.
Insane. Harry Roseman grew up a Jets fan?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I saw
I'm
that.
sure he would want to be the Jets. I mean, I'm sure Jets fans.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jets fans. Just throw that at you if you didn't know that. But
I forget who it was. I saw an interview last week. It was some other famous person. They were roommates with Howie Roseman in college, and they said that Howie Roseman would always say, "I'm going to be the GM of the Jets one day."
That sucks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think I might have saw it on Part of My Take or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I got one more question before we move on to Super Bowl. Do you think Brady and Gronk were loving this? Because Brady was obviously doing the commentary and Gronk was on the Fox pregame and postgame show.
I think for sure.
They loved it? Yeah,
I think especially Brady, since he's an owner in the same division as the Chiefs too.
He may act like he doesn't care, but
yet he has that personal. Because if Mahomes went out and won this and people are crowning him as the GOAT, then Brady is number 2.
It would have been a talk. But now those talks are
of course,
not dead, but they're really down there, and they won't be talked about for a while. It's not over because he's only 29. He's gonna do more in his career, but Tom Brady's the GOAT. I mean, Gronk probably loved it because even the Kelsey Gronk thing is a little bit of a thing. I'm sure Belichick loved it too. Seeing, these conversations about the Chiefs being some of the best ever are dead for now. But congrats to the Eagles. Just congrats to a great NFL season once again. NFL is always such a great time.
It is. But this Super Bowl felt so weird.
Yeah, this Super Bowl
lead
sucked.
up to it. And
you're right. It is a disappointing ending because I think the NBA took over because of just a once-in-a-lifetime trade. Happened.
Also, you're going to have Super Bowls like this. So, it makes you appreciate the really good ones.
We haven't had one in a while. Because I think I said this to you off camera. I'm like, dude, we haven't had a bad Super Bowl in a while. I think the last one was Chiefs-Bucks, but that Super Bowl was special because you saw the greatest before versus in the
And
future.
yeah, you saw like the
that was
old
cool.
GOAT takedown.
This one was just.
But I feel like we haven't had an iconic one in a while too.
You're right.
Like I think the last iconic one was the Eagles when
Patriots.
Eagles Patriots.
I would say Patriots Falcons is for me. The comeback.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
that was before still. But
Okay.
I don't consider that one iconic.
The Eagles
I don't
one.
know why.
I feel because we were talking about this. Was it on camera or off camera?
I think
don't know.
on camera.
About how Super Bowls have like the moment.
That
Like,
one had moments.
And the Eagles one, the Philly,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady dropping the pass. Like I would say, like those were the two moments because
True.
it was literally Foles going out there and outplaying Brady and like doing, and even in the sense of catching the pass, doing something that Brady couldn't do.
Yeah.
And you don't see a journeyman.
I guess that's
quarterback.
iconic.
You don't see a journeyman
Yeah.
quarterback ever do
Really,
that.
ever. It was cool seeing Nick Foles win it all. But, now the football season's over, and every single team in the league has something called hope now because it's the offseason, and a lot can happen. So we will get into that. You want to get our first voicemail of the day?
Sir.
What's going on, fellas? I'm coming here with a draft question.
Okay.
I know you want Shedeur Sanders, but say there's a world where we trade for Stafford before we're on the clock. And Travis Hunter's off the board, obviously, at this point. Do you think we draft Will Johnson? Do you think we go Abdul Carter? Or we go the tackle? What are we thinking here?
That's an interesting point. So we're going to talk about the Matt Stafford thing because that's really heating up. But thanks for the call. So if Matt Stafford's our quarterback, I'm almost leaning we take a tackle to protect him as much as possible because we're going to talk about a lot in a couple minutes. Actually, we can get it right now. But so let's say Stafford's the Giants quarterback. I think he might – it's going to be similar to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets almost in a way where he's going to have a lot of say. And I think you're going to want to protect the guy.
I think it'll be similar but different. It'll be like the Walmart version.
Yes, Walmart.
Aaron
The Walmart,
Rodgers.
yeah.
But I also don't think he'll have a lot to say. I think personally, the Giants going out and getting Stafford is the right move for like Dable and Shane, but not the right move for the franchise. It's the right move for them because they're trying to save their ass. They're trying to save their job.
Yeah.
But it's not the most logical move for the franchise. Okay. But in terms of who they would draft, if Abdul Carter's there, I think you take him. Or you just trade back and take a tackle.
Okay, Abdul Carter, I'd be on board with. I think he's really talented. I just wonder if you get Matt Stafford, you're going to get some more protection on the offensive line. So let's get into this Giants Matt Stafford stuff. So this kind of came out of not nowhere, but it's heating up a bit right now at this point, February 12th. So they hired his brother-in-law, Kelly Stafford's brother, and it's not too random, but he's coached under Coach Dable before, but kind of out of nowhere. Like, you don't bring that one that low tier of a coach. I think he's assistant quarterback coach, so he's a lower position.
Yeah.
And that brought a ton of speculation.
I think.
So you think it's nothing or something?
I think it's something.
Okay.
I definitely think it's something because as I keep iterating that they're trying to save their job, and this would be a splash. This would be different than going out and getting one of those other veteran quarterbacks that aren't ultra talented like Matt Stafford. Like Matt Stafford can come in and carry a team, kind of carry a team.
He can lead them.
Yeah,
he's done with
lead
the Rams.
a team.
The Rams had a young team these past couple of years since the Super Bowl. And okay, this is the first other quarterback option besides the draft where I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like this. I've said on here I really don't want to go one of lower tier draft routes, and I don't like any of the veteran quarterbacks that much. None of them I like, but this intrigues me because so the Giants had the worst season in their franchise history. Part of me wonders if Mayer is like, okay, I got to make the fans happy.
Yeah.
This would get the fans excited for the first time in a long time. Like, I don't even know what year since if they got Matt Stafford and even Cooper Kupp to come with him, even if that doesn't necessarily mean to a Super Bowl, they could be a 9-10 win lower playoff team. And I think the Giants fans, it'd bring excitement back. And obviously the business is Super Bowl or nothing. But at this point, I think Giants fans would be happy. And I think this would keep Ryan Dable and Joe Shane's job, like you just said. I can see this happening. The more I think about it.
How many years do you think he plays there? 2-3 years?
Exactly. So if you don't love this quarterback class, and Joe Shane can be like, okay, the fans are pissed. The fans hate me right now. This could bring excitement back to the building.
I also don't think.
the
I also
city.
don't think this is a winning move for Stafford. If he stayed in L.A., I feel like that's more of a winning move in the short term. Obviously, he only has the short term. He doesn't have much longer. But I think he's just looking for a payday. He's already won a Super Bowl. I think he's just looking to go to New York and get a payday.
So that's the question I keep going back to. Why would Matt Stafford do this? That's what I keep thinking about. So the only way he would do this is if they're the only one paying him, right?
If they're the
That's
one
it,
paying
right?
him, and if the Rams just really want to move on, and
I don't know if the Rams are actually going to move on, but if he's trying to win a Super Bowl, there's much better options. The Steelers, the Steelers are the main one I think that the vet team would love, the vet quarterback would love to go to.
I don't know why the Rams would want to move on though, because they just now are starting to gain back control of their draft picks from a couple years ago when they went all in to win a Super Bowl, and they've kind of bridged these last couple years perfectly to where they can
they're getting
start
rid of
drafting
Cup,
again. I know, and I
You don't like it? Well,
it's good for their cap situation and all that, but
me and you talked about this before when they lost in the playoffs. Are they ever really going to win a Super Bowl again? And I wonder if that's what the front office is thinking. We're never going to win a Super Bowl again with Stafford. It's been a nice run. We got some good young players. Let's find our next quarterback. Let's take a step backwards this year to take a step forward in the next year.
But you could stay on the same step.
I don't
and
agree.
keep
I don't think
drafting.
So the business, like I said, for the Giants, I don't think this means as much. But the Rams are trying to win a Super Bowl. They've won a Super Bowl. They had a good tenure with Stafford. And when stuff gets stale, they've already shown they're not afraid to change it up. Jared Goff trade.
That's true.
I don't think they know right now.
I don't
think they need to know.
Stafford would be the right move, in my opinion, to just
For next year.
for next year. Yeah.
But I don't think it's about next year for them.
But you shouldn't be looking too far ahead here. You should just keep Stafford, kind of like what the Chiefs did with Alex Smith. You keep him. If you find someone to draft, you draft him, and maybe just sit him and let him learn.
See, I think the Rams think they're going to be able to find someone better. I don't know who that is. This is early, but you remember what I said to you last week or 2 weeks ago? Some of these AFC quarterbacks might start going into the NFC.
That is true.
I wonder if the Rams, like LA sports are, they're ahead of this stuff early. I don't know. It's just an LA sports thing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just saying they're ahead of this stuff early. Like Dodgers with Shohei, Lakers with Luka. I'm just saying the Rams are gonna have a plan, and I don't know if that is keep running out Matt Stafford. Okay, let's get a wild card, maybe a playoff win, and do nothing. But they're a Super Bowl or nothing franchise at this point.
They still had a chance to beat the Eagles this year.
Okay, but I think they think this window peaked. They're an attractive spot for a quarterback if they get rid of Matt Stafford.
They are, and it could have peaked, and you still have a chance. I
don't get it at all.
I don't understand
I
in sports. Maybe it's because I'm a Jets fan. If my team was mediocre year in and year out, that would still give me some hope because you have a chance, and you see teams that are mediocre in the regular season go on these magical runs. You would know something about that being a Giants fan, and the Ravens back in the day.
The Rams did it. You're right.
And the Rams did it
with Stafford. They were a 4 seed.
And even the Bucks did it with Brady. Brady kind of looked not the same throughout that year. He had that incident in Chicago where he was holding up the 4, thinking it's 4th down when it literally was already 4th down. In the NFL, you can be mediocre throughout the year and then go on these magical runs.
Okay, but the Rams might think they've seen the best of Matt Stafford on the Rams. I personally get it. Because sometimes taking a step backwards is the best way to go forward in this league. And I don't think they're satisfied being mediocre. To a rebuttal about you just said about being happy with that, what about the Yankees? We're Yankee fans.
But baseball's different. Baseball's so different.
Okay, but I'm not saying the Rams are nowhere near iconic franchise of the Yankees, but they may not be happy with this mid-era.
In the NFL, and the Steelers are a great example of this, I feel like Steeler fans don't appreciate what they have enough. Because as a Jets fan, I would kill for being above 500 for the last 20 years.
I'm going to say it again. We're Yankee fans.
But baseball's different.
How is it? But how is it different? The Steelers and Yankees are pretty similar. I would say iconic franchises, and obviously there's a salary cap in the sport. But those fans are not happy if they're not contending for a championship. Same as Yankee fans. Steelers fans. You're right. They're kind of spoiled. People say Yankee fans have it too good all the time. And we rebuttal with that. Like we say we're the New York Yankees.
So,
that's what Steelers fans say.
And we do say we're the New York Yankees, so we have these higher
Mm-hmm.
expectations. So we are disappointed. And yes, the Steelers are the same way. So I do see that.
Okay, so back to the Matt Stafford thing. I understand if the Rams do it. The Rams have shown they're good at drafting.
They are.
When they haven't a lot of draft picks, they can get a third-round pick from the Giants. And from the Giants' standpoint, we kind of explained, I get it. Because right now it might not be about Super Bowl because how close to the Super Bowl are the Giants if they draft a quarterback they're not going to I don't see them like we literally said it on the show a couple weeks ago. I have the Jets making the Super Bowl before or the conference championship before them.
Yeah.
I understand the Matt Stafford thing. It'd be excitement for the fan base. And my brother said this to me today. It's early, but you want to keep Malik Neighbors. If you run this year, if you keep running these Jameis Winstons or Justin Fields type guys or a bad rookie, you're going to lose him.
Yeah. And maybe not Cooper Kupp. I know you don't like this, but Stephon Diggs, because I kind of would be intrigued by that.
Desperation to me.
For the Giants.
Which they are.
Yeah.
The Giants are going to it's February 12th. I guarantee you in March, the Giants are going to overpay for contracts because they're desperate. These guys want to keep their jobs.
But if you're overpaying,
Jerry Reese did the same thing when he was GM. Dave Gettleman did it, and it didn't age the best.
If you're overpaying on short-term contracts, I don't think that's the worst thing. I always say like Diggs would probably get a 3-year deal, but say you were able to give someone just a ton of money on a 1-year deal, I say like that's not an issue in my opinion because it's for 1 year and you're off it after that. So yeah, if they were gonna pay him for like a 3-year contract, then I could see that.
Yeah,
and he's old and he just he's coming off an ACL.
You're right. What would it be like a 2-year? It can't be that bad.
Yeah.
How much is Stephon Diggs gonna get?
And how old is he?
He's older and he's off an injury. You're right. And so one thing I'll say about what Schoen and Daboll they're going to do this year in free agency in all their moves, they're going to shoot all their bullets and throw the gun at them. They're going to do everything they can to try to get this team to win now. I actually believe that. And if they draft a quarterback, I think, if they draft a quarterback, I think you're going to see what the Bears kind of did last year, which that didn't work out great, but they gave a ton of weapons. I can see the Giants doing that too.
Yeah, Diggs is 31, so
that's old for football.
That is old. That is pretty old for football.
You can't give him a multi-year deal off an injury, 2 years max.
I agree with that.
I can see it though because he knows Daboll and Schoen. Who this team's quarterback's going to be is going to be the talk of around the town for the next 2 months or free agency or draft. Same with the Jets.
Yeah,
because now the Jets. You want to get into a voicemail first?
Yeah, let's do a voicemail.
Okay, we'll do a voicemail first. Before we get into the Jets.
This one is kind of about. It's going to ask about Stafford again.
Okay.
But we already went over that. And it's also about the Jets.
Max calling in from Mississippi. So it looks like Matthew Stafford may become a New York Giant in these next coming days or weeks. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. And why is this going to just be Aaron Rodgers 2.0, another old quarterback coming to New York on a team that needs a lot more than just a quarterback? I don't see it working out. Giants need a lot of help. Matthew Stafford is not going to change much for them at all. They definitely need a new coach. The Giants are the Jets right now. They're just a year behind. Daboll will get fired next year. That's my thoughts. I want to know what you guys have to say about it. Appreciate you guys for taking my call.
Well, the Jets were not any more than a quarterback away. They were literally just a quarterback away.
It made more sense for the Jets to go to Rodgers than the Giants go for Stafford right now.
And the Jets getting Rodgers was like, I don't know, it was this whole like, oh my gosh, this guy's coming to save the franchise.
Yeah. See, that's so if the Giants fans are thinking this is like Stafford's going to save the franchise, it's not.
That's not.
That's not what this move is about.
I don't think anyone thinks that's what happened.
I don't know, dude. New York fans are delusional.
They are. And we're a part of that.
But you're absolutely right. The Giants are the Jets last year where it felt like a sense of doom where these guys are going to get fired. And he's right. That's going to happen.
I don't think Stafford, like you kind of said it, but I don't think Stafford will have the power.
He won't.
Because, no, I don't think he will. Because
if he gets Kupp to go with them, he might.
He's not on this pedestal that people held Rodgers on. Rodgers is 4-time MVP, like I don't know, Stafford's also one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen play, just in terms of arm talent. But, everyone holds Rodgers on this higher pedestal, and maybe it's because he won earlier in his career and then won the 4 MVPs, but and the Giants are a better run organization. Like, they're not going to bend over and give this guy power.
They're better, but it's not by much right now.
Okay, yeah.
But so another thing that might intrigue me, like if you're Stafford, I'm trying to get in his mind. Are you like, okay, I go to New York, I go to the Giants, who are like the team in New York. I don't have to be a Super Bowl winner for this to be successful. If I am a 10-win team, the fans will love me.
Especially if he is like the bridge to the next generation.
That's what I think it would be, right?
Like, he comes in, he plays good football, helps turn the ship around, bringing the winning culture back, and then the Giants draft their guy 2-3 years down the line, and if he's kind of like this bridge to the next era, Giants fans, I feel like would endear him forever.
It. Well, I mean, I don't know how similar this is, but the quarterback before Eli Manning was Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
And he kind of had a career revival after the Giants with the Cardinals, but I guess it's a little similar. I mean, but so I posted a poll on our Instagram, and Giants fans, it was 73% they want him.
Okay.
So and I hope they're not expecting. My only issue is if the Giants fans are going to go in this Super Bowl or bust, you're just gonna make yourself miserable. But
no fans, especially after the last couple of years, Giants have had.
I think I might be happy.
Should
with
not
9 to 10 wins.
And coming from a Jets fan, you don't want to be thinking, "Oh, we have a chance to win the Super Bowl."
No, they shouldn't think that. It would be fun. It would be fun if they got Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
It would be. I would actually be excited for Giants football.
And it wouldn't be fun like in the sense people are saying, "Oh, Jameis Winston would be fun." It would be fun because you get to watch good football.
Yeah,
Matthew Stafford would give you good football.
They can make the playoffs.
They could
with that if they get the right people around Stafford.
Year 2 of Malik Neighbors, you fix up that
would be fun.
Fix up that line a little bit.
The Giants don't have some bad pieces on that offense. Tyrone Tracy Jr. is a promising rookie, and Wando Robinson may be the receiver 3 if you get Kupp to go with him.
What if they kind of fix up that O line in free agency, and then they trade back in the draft, and then maybe go after someone like this? I'm totally just pulling out of nowhere. They go after like Genty or something.
I feel like Genty is on his. Oh my God! I have the team in my head.
I've been seeing a lot of Cowboys.
Cowboys
or Bears?
Bears. Genty's a bear. Genty's the bear.
Yeah.
I think so. But I don't love Genty.
Okay.
I've seen the Giants experiment with a first round running back.
Yeah.
And I like Tyrone Tracy Jr. He actually had a really good rookie year. But we'll see how this keeps coming out. I mean, we're gonna know more. It's all speculation at this point, but I'm starting to get more bought into Stafford, the Giants. And I've been purely draft a quarterback or bust. For the first time, I'm open to something else.
I agree with that. Also, that point, we saw the first round running back with the Giants. I feel like the Eagles were the first time in a while that a superstar running back kind of led them to the promised land a little bit.
In a while, you're right. And I mean, the running back market might be helped because of Saquon and Derrick Henry in general.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to see more of a value of running backs. Okay, so to the Jets. So.
Yes, sir.
Came out, I believe, on Super Bowl Sunday that they're done with Rodgers. Jets fan, what's your mind? What's up with this?
I like it. I think it's the right move. You're going to have to move off him either this year or next year. And I think it's the right move because you're just turning the page. You're clearing house, turning the page to the new era, and you're not even giving him a chance to go and mess this up. Where last year he would be saying, "Oh, I'm bought in," yada yada yada, and then we saw that maybe he's not bought in. He does have some of these antics off the field, and it seemed like one of the things that Jets didn't want him to do is go on Pat McAfee. I don't think that's him going on Pat McAfee is the biggest deal, but it's not that's not a one-time issue. He has all these little antics, and it's not just Pat McAfee, but it's a bunch of different things. What he says after the game's oh, someone ran the wrong route, stuff like that.
I think it's better they did it now than possibly being a mess, and it's August, and you're we got to cut this guy. So it's best. I think it's best for both sides. But My main reaction to this is the Jets are not trying to win next year.
No, they're not.
The Jets are doing, like I said, what the Rams are doing, taking a step backwards to go forwards. And I think this could be the right move because a good example of a rebuild year actually ending a contending year is the Giants in 2022. And it's hurt them really badly after that year. And I think, you don't want to say tanking, but also taking a step backwards to go forward.
Also, the Giants one is different because they wouldn't be giving Rodgers a long-term extension. Like, that Giants one, Daniel Jones played his way into a long-term extension, and that was ultimately the wrong move.
They didn't pick up his fifth-year option.
Yeah.
Which, that was the wrong move because that would have helped them a lot if they just picked up that fifth-year option. So they had to pay him long-term. I mean, and then you just had to give – and another reason why it hurt them is Schoen admitted he's like, okay, this team's like contending. Let's draft for fit and not talent, which is a really bad way of drafting.
I think no matter what, I think that's the wrong way.
But the Jets. So my question is, who's their quarterback going to be next year?
I definitely think it should be a veteran. You know, we got Tyrod Taylor on the roster. We have second-year QB Jordan Travis. I mean, I don't think he'll get any playing time. I mean, we'll see what he does. I don't think he played in the preseason last year because of his injury in college. And then there'll be some vets out there like Russell Wilson's still out there. Kirk Cousins is going to get cut. Derek Carr might be leaving the Saints. And personally, my favorite would be Kirk Cousins just because it'll be kind of like the Russell Wilson thing last year where he's still getting paid all this money from the Falcons. So whatever team he goes to, he'd go there and get a minimum contract. So it does save the Jets money in that sense, even though you're paying this giant cap hit from Rodgers. And then you also, Devontae Adams, I believe it was $20 million when you cut him. Yeah, Jets will save $20 million when they cut Devontae Adams. So I don't think that their QB situation will be all that horrible.
I like the Kirk Cousins thing because, like I said, I don't think this year is about winning games for Jets, and he'd be good in the locker room. He'd be good for the young guys.
Yeah, he'd be a good tone setter.
And if he plays well, who knows? I mean, no one thought Jared Goff would be the quarterback of the Lions for the foreseeable future.
And it does seem like Kirk Cousins maybe is like a walking corpse at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
in his career because of the Achilles.
He's probably
because of the Achilles. But just you probably watched the quarterback documentary on Netflix. Just in terms of his preparation, like what you don't see on the field, what he does like in the classroom, I guess is what they call it, studying film, the way he takes care of his body. He is the perfect example of what a hardworking quarterback should be doing, and he will set that example for the rest of the squad.
See, to me, they can't roll out with Tyrod Taylor. I would be pissed off if that's who their quarterback is week one.
I would not.
Garrett Wilson likes him. Taylor is.
We know what he is. We know what he is, and the Jets.
You can't do that. You gotta get somebody else. I don't like it at all.
We know what Tyrod Taylor is, and the Jets aren't necessarily trying to win. I don't expect them to be winning. I wouldn't hate the Tyrod Taylor.
I'm against it.
I mean, you saw him play for the Giants.
No,
right?
he actually played well for the Giants. Just I don't think it's a good idea for him to be your quarterback one at this point.
Oh, it's not going to lead to winning football.
I know, but I would rather bring any veteran in.
I remember back in the day when he played for the Bills with Rex Ryan. I was like, dude, this guy's sick. Who is this guy?
Yeah, that was 9 years ago at this point. And like, I don't like the Tyrod Taylor thing. So what about drafting one? That's a possibility now.
But I wouldn't draft.
The Jets are eligible to trade up. I saw they're like fourth in odds.
I wouldn't want them to do that.
You don't want it. So you're totally against drafting.
Because I'm not against drafting a quarterback, but I'm not with trading up for one of these two guys. The Jets traded up for Sam Darnold back in the day, and
I didn't realize they traded up for him.
They traded up for him. I don't believe. Yeah, they didn't trade up for Zach Wilson because they were the number 2 pick. They lost the first pick.
Okay, so I'm going to read you these odds. I was at the gym.
Okay.
The odds to make the number 1 overall pick: Titans minus 164, the Giants plus 225, the Raiders plus 650, the Jets at 4th plus 1500. So the odds aren't great, but they're 4th to trade up. The Giants are like kind of really close. That surprised me that they're that high.
Yeah, it'd probably take less for the Giants to move up to 1
like
just because where their pick is. Yeah.
How much more do you have to give up?
You
don't like it.
I don't like Shedeur or
Cam Ward.
or Cam Ward. Not that I don't like him. I just don't think that they'll be the guy And we've seen the Jets reach on these quarterback prospects time and time again, and it not work out.
So you're all for the bridge quarterback this year?
I am all
draft
for the
next
bridge
year,
quarterback.
or just play
next
it by
year,
ear?
next year, if there's one I like, next year is
Archer Manning. But he hasn't started like Giants. Like so, maybe the Giants fan just told him, but he hasn't started a full year.
Yeah.
Yet. Who knows what it'll be?
Exactly. Yeah, I say bridge quarterback this year, and a unproblematic bridge quarterback, so not Rodgers.
I don't think Russell Wilson. I could see Kirk Cousins.
I see Kirk Cousins.
I think we get another year.
I wouldn't mind Russell Wilson though, just because I know it's not going to be winning football, but just
Sam
like
Darnold?
another
No.
good leader.
No, Sam
Well,
Darnold.
Sam Darnold wouldn't
There's
come
no way he
back.
comes
'Cause he
back,
wouldn't
right?
come back. But I wouldn't mind it. The only thing about Sam Darnold is like he got figured out at the end of this year, and teams, it's just going to be the same thing that it was.
I don't think
back
you
when
won
he
a
was
Super
with the
Bowl
Jets.
with him.
Oh yeah,
But-
no, you definitely couldn't. But he could maybe bridge.
Yeah, he could be a mid bridge. Like
Yeah.
3-year contract. Like I could see him going to the Raiders. That's where that's my favorite spot for
him and Pete Carroll.
Yep.
I saw that on something. They were saying like Pete Carroll is the type of guy kind of like O'Connell who'd like coddle him a little bit, and that's what he needs. And yeah, but they would need weapons.
Yeah,
for him.
they would have
because
to add a lot.
He was playing in San Fran. He only played like one game or something there, and I don't think he even played good in that game. But
Justin Jefferson.
I say like in my head, I always say the Vikings are a little bit 49er-esque in terms of they have all these weapons, and Sam Darnold needs that.
I think the Vikings should keep him. Personally,
I think they should.
I think a
too.
2-year deal. You see it like if he sucks, you see it. You get to have a quarterback contract now.
If I was the Vikings and someone told me you have to move on from McCarthy or Darnold right now, and the other one you can keep, I would move on from McCarthy.
Interesting. I
Just because
disagree.
you know what Darnold is.
Exactly. You know what he is. JJ McCarthy could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback for all we know. He could suck, you're right, but there's a little % chance that this guy could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And I don't think you think that at all with Darnold.
I would rather.
So what do you go with?
I'd rather go
The safe option?
I'd rather go with the safe option in this situation. I wouldn't always choose a safe option, but when Darnold's playing good, he's playing
really well,
good.
yeah. Aaron Rodgers, where's he headed next year? Retirement or a new team?
I think he plays just because him meeting with the Jets shows that obviously he was interested in playing, and he didn't give any signs that he was interested in retiring. So I'm going to say he plays, and I feel like the Steelers would just be the easy answer, but I could also see him going to the NFC, maybe the Vikings.
Jesus, imagine that.
But I also say the Vikings just because of like the Brett Favre stuff.
thing.
Yeah.
Giants fans should have no interest in Aaron Rodgers. We don't want that.
Also, if he was going to stay in New York, it would
been
it
the
would
Jets,
be
right?
with the Jets. Yeah, like him going to the Giants wouldn't make sense. But maybe he's gonna, maybe he would embrace the villain role,
Jesus.
jump
I don't want that.
ship like Juan Soto.
If I had to guess, I'm saying the Steelers. I think he ends up there.
It makes the most sense.
It makes the most sense. The Steelers could be a good team with him.
I agree, and I think him and Tomlin kind of have a little bit of a relation. I don't know.
I could
maybe
see
not.
them. I could see they probably have mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
They've both been around for a while.
But also, Tomlin would say, "Hey, no bullshit." Like,
I think that's
here
easier
to-
to embrace under Mike Tomlin,
Tomlin
than
than
basically any other
than
coach
Robert
in the league.
Saleh.
Almost any other. Like obviously you have great coaches, but like
also,
you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't think he would say no McAfee, and like I said just before, I don't think McAfee was the issue, but I think it's a part of a string of issues.
And you go to the Steelers. The Steelers are an iconic franchise. It's not the
Iconic,
Jets.
winning
Like,
organization,
it's not where you can
yeah.
run the show. You're gonna be a part of the Steelers. Like it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I was thinking about this, and I mean, I would have to like actually do research on this. But you know, like now we're in the day of age of these players having podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think teams that actually win have players. Oh wait, actually the Chiefs have Kelsey.
Yeah.
I was trying to.
That's an interesting
I
point.
was thinking of Micah Parsons, how he's everywhere. And
I don't like what he says.
And then
He's dumb with it.
Yeah,
though.
and you got guys in the NBA. Actually, it's really. I don't know
Everyone
what
has
I'm saying.
podcasts. You're
Mookie
good.
Betts has a
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, everyone has podcasts now. Yeah. So I think Rodgers ends up with the Jets. You want to get another voicemail?
Hey, Roger ends up with Steelers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Steelers. Jesus.
I did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another voicemail.
Hey, boys, this is Tony from New Jersey. I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. Hey, this question's really for Johnny, the Giants fan. Johnny, if you could undo 3 transactions that the Giants made over the last 10 years, what would they be?
Okay, so number 1, this is technically 2. I'm putting it together. Drafting and extending Daniel Jones. That's pretty self-explanatory. Just horrible draft choice, reach of a pick. Era did not go well. And then you doubled down after a mediocre year to extend him. My number 2,
Can I say one?
yeah, what are you?
Kenny Golladay?
That's where I was going with Golladay.
Okay.
Horrible contract. That's Gettleman being desperate. That's the last example of your GM being desperate. And I think I'm gonna go the hiring of Joe Judge. He was horrible. And I didn't love firing Pat Shermer. This might be a hot take as a Giants fan. Look at Daniel Jones' rookie year. That was the only year under Pat Shermer. By far his best year. And Joe Judge, that's when Daniel Jones started really regressing his stats. That guy was a horrible coach, way in over his head. I didn't like that coaching hire at the time. I actually wanted Matt Rule, who was also awful, but a horrible hire. Just a disaster move, and it hurt the Giants a lot. Him being the head coach, and they just not a good coach. And then I'm gonna Dave Gettleman as GM. I'm putting those two together. Gettleman was such a bad GM. So many bad contracts, so many bad moves, a lot of bad head coaching moves. But yeah, I'd go those.
I know you kind of don't see eye to eye on this, but I'd say lack of a move, not re-signing Saquon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna think that, but I think even what happened, those moves hurt the franchise more. Those are like quarterback. The Kenny Golladay one, like it didn't really. It was just a bad signing.
Bad signing, yeah.
But head coach and GM, those guys really hurt the franchise. When you think of the worst quarterback tenure, you think of Daniel Jones. Head coach, you probably go Joe Judge, and then general manager probably go Dave Gettleman. The big 3 of what not to do in football, those are them for the Giants. But thanks for the call.
Yes, sir. Also, something about the Eagles, they had so many former Jets. I don't know. I don't think Bryce Huff played in the game. I'm not sure.
I forgot he's
But
there. Yeah.
Mekhi Becton, and they kind of turned him to. Do you remember that
guard,
one point?
right?
They turned him into a guard, and they kind of turned him to like a really good player.
He
You remember
was
that one
so
point
bad.
when he was out on the sideline, maybe getting like his leg rolled out or something, and the camera was like panning to him, saying, "Oh, possible big loss for the Eagles line, Mekhi Becton."
Who would've thought
and
that?
who would have thought that? Yeah.
Yeah, he was awful. So now, as I learned this from my dad, this is the dead time of sports. So, football's over. You're in the middle of the NBA, and really, it's baseball starting up. So, my dad would always say sports start for him again when opening day happens. He's not really too big of a basketball guy, but so now it's like an interesting time. Like I guess you spend time with the family now. It's Valentine's Day coming up, so you spend time with your girlfriend or wife. So, you think this is the dead time of sports?
Oh yeah, for sure. We got pitchers and catchers just reported, and we got baseball coming up, but no one really.
We like it.
We do like it,
'Cause we're
but
psychos.
it's just like you're itching for actual baseball, and you have to it's kind of like NFL preseason a little bit, where you're like this is something, but like I'm not getting the full fix I need from it.
I kind of enjoy spring training because, like, especially with the Yankees this year, there's an open competition for third base, so like that actually matters. I remember I really liked it when Volpe was trying to get shortstop job because like these are open competitions. But you're right, it's not really real baseball. Like the vets, like Giancarlo Stanton is known to be a horrible spring training player. Like you just let him do his thing.
Also, last year, like we actually watched some of the spring training games together, watching Soto. Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. But it's almost just like blue balling you in a sense.
It's nervous for these guys to get injured. Like Cole we watched that Cole start. He didn't look great, and then he got hurt.
And you remember last year, Soto, the first at bat was a home run, right?
Yeah,
or was the first at bat the rollover?
I don't remember. Yeah,
it was in the first game. He rolled over on one, and he was like grabbing his calf or something.
Judge got hurt in spring training too.
Yeah.
I don't remember this. It was like a tweaker, but you just want these guys to stay healthy. But then March Madness happens, which that's always a fun time, even as a casual college basketball fan. But, we're in the midpoint of the NBA, and to stick with our New York teams, I like the Knicks are such an interesting team to me because they're the 3 seed. They kill the teams they're better than, but then they got killed by Boston again Saturday.
And then they played Indiana.
They killed Indiana.
And they killed them,
they're better than they're clearly better than some teams, but are they? I don't know if they're legit or not. It's interesting. They didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. I kind of wish they added some depth to the bench, but they did all their moves in the offseason. They don't have much to trade. I don't know. I just think they're in this situation where they're not better than Boston. They beat up on the teams that are better than that, but they're not. I don't expect them to go past second round at this point.
I don't think they're better than Boston, and I will admit, I'm not as caught up on the NBA as other people, but I feel like Brunson has to play out of his mind for them to win some of these games. At least last year. I know now you have Cat.
Now you have Towns and
take the
Bridges,
load.
but to beat Boston, these guys are going to have to play out of their minds. You're right.
And Tibbs runs them until the wheels fall off.
That's nervous for me because last year they ran down, and Tibbs plays these guys a lot, and especially he doesn't have a lot of weapons on the bench. So you got to hope they're healthy and not run down. Boston, if you watch Boston, they're like the 2 seed. They'll be the 2 seed. They're only a couple games above the Knicks, but they're just walking towards the playoffs, which kind of happens in the NBA when you win it. But so how many teams in the NBA do you think can actually win it all? I have 6.
Who are your 6?
So in the West, I have the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Lakers.
Okay.
And in the East, I have the top 3. I have Cavs, Celtics, and Knicks. I don't have Milwaukee. And for the Lakers, I'll just say this. I mean, it's new, but I think Luka and LeBron's going to be special. I mean, they've only played 1 game together, but the fit's there. They don't have a center as the Mark Williams trade got rescinded. So, I mean, they have Jackson Hayes and Alex Len, but they're going to run small ball probably in the closing games a lot. But I think they're going to be so hard to stop. And I think defensively they're better than people realize. And I think Luka and LeBron in a playoff setting, you could win it all with that.
I agree. I'm really getting bought in on the Lakers.
Me too.
I don't think the Thunder can. I don't know.
Really? I feel like I'm not going to pick them, but they're 41-9 right now.
Yeah, maybe that's just me not knowing basketball.
They're young. Historically in the NBA, you got to pick, you got to lose a bit before you win.
Before you win, yeah.
I'm not going to pick them to win the West, but just because I need to see them to do it first, but I can't not say they can't do it. They definitely could.
I think they should have tried to trade for Durant at the deadline.
You think?
Maybe they made a call or something, and it seemed like
knows?
the Suns just didn't want to move off of him.
I wonder if that's so. Let's say they get bounced in the second round again. I can see that in the summer because Durant's going to get traded. Basically, the Suns are a mess, and they have so many assets. That's what I think will happen. Let's say they lose to any team in the West before the conference finals, they will make a splash because they're loaded with assets. Yeah. And these young guys aren't
and they wouldn't have to trade away too many of the guys already on their roster.
I wonder if maybe J Dub.
Jalen Williams.
He's really good, but I wonder if you keep him. You probably could keep him Durant. They would be loaded if they did that. That'd be a cool story.
And him going back, and maybe that would fix Durant's legacy.
Yeah, he'd have a spot, but that's all hypothetical.
And it could fix his place with the Thunder fans.
Yeah, I was thinking about this today. I think the Luka LeBron Lakers might be the most fascinating story in sports right now.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's must-see TV every night they play.
You have possibly the greatest basketball player of all time with this next up guy who could get into that type of conversation within the next 10, 15 years.
And if you've seen the way LA's embraced him, it's crazy. They love this guy. He said he was in the first time in a while he was nervous for a basketball game.
That's crazy.
And it's just the way the trade happened, which is still just you never see in sports. It's really cool to see, and the Lakers are playing well.
It also does show just the stage that LA basketball, Lakers basketball, is compared to even Dallas. That he's nervous for this game. You think if he, I don't know, got traded to
Anywhere else.
Anywhere
I would
else, a
say,
team
yeah.
that had more assets, I probably would have tried to trade for him if they made this an open trade. He definitely would not be nervous to go play in Oklahoma City or Houston.
And I'm sure a player like Luka, always envisioned beating the Lakers, and he never thought he'd be playing for them. And he's just
maybe someone like Luka envisioned playing for the Lakers.
Who knows? But he's bought into it totally. Like, he's smiling all the time.
Also, I feel like some of those European players, they see teams like the Lakers and the Celtics play the most, so they envision themselves playing for a team like that. Teams that are on the TV the most and stuff like that.
I think these guys are going to see how the Lakers are treating Luka. They're treating him like it's something. I think they're treating him better than LeBron. Like when they got LeBron, and like Pelinka's hugging him in the locker room. Obviously the beef, the iconic. You ever see the video of Nico Harrison taking the beer away from Luka and celebrating?
They're saying how they're treating him differently.
They're treating him like it's a girl you're trying to keep. Like they are.
Also, it is still different because Luka is this foreign player and just got traded with that second notice. Like, imagine someone told you, "Oh, you got to go move to Los Angeles tomorrow," and you got to go there alone. And he needs to be embraced more than LeBron needed to be embraced going there because he had already lived in LA in the offseason and stuff, and he had his family out there. He had planned this. Luka, at a moment's notice, was told, "Hey, you're going to LA. Pack your bags."
Well, this is why the Lakers get stars. There's already three of Luka's guys are on the staff already, with him. LeBron texted him and his dad, "Hey, if you ever need anything," they treat his family like royalty, which it matters a lot to these guys. And the Lakers, they embrace the star power. They embrace getting these stars, and other franchises don't do that. And a lot of that stuff matters. That's how the Mets got Juan Soto. You kind of gotta embrace the stars' families. You gotta cater to them a little bit. Stars is what win championships. So, we have another voicemail.
Yeah, we'll do this voicemail and then.
Hey guys, this is Chris from Rochester. Great episode last week, and your top 5 trade list got me thinking about top 5 lists. So I know you are Giants and Jets fans. I would like to know who are your top 5 stiffs for each team in the last 15 years. The definition of a stiff, in my mind, would be someone who you thought would be good and just didn't pan out, not just some 7th round draft pick. Thank you.
And this, would you say just people you drafted or
signed? Like Kenny Galladay, that's a stiff.
Okay,
so off Kenny Galladay, I'm at number 5. You want to go with your?
Yeah, I'll do one. I would say Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Okay. Evan Neal. Evan Neal was the 5th overall pick, I think. So total bust.
My next one, I would say Mekhi Becton. He was a total stiff. We thought when he played, he was pretty good in the beginning, and then he just couldn't stay in shape, couldn't stay healthy. Kind of what the Mavs are saying about Luka.
I think. Okay, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Eric Flowers. A lot of Giants fans know his name. He was a top 10 pick. Horrible tackle, just the butt end of jokes, just ripping him apart. I think it was worse than Evan Neal got. Giants fans hated this guy. He was horrible.
My next one, because I also did some drafted players. My next one, I'm going to say D. Milliner. He was a corner that the Jets drafted probably in the 2013-14 time. But he was supposed to be good, and he was just a total bust. I'll find when he was drafted in a second.
You want me to?
Yeah,
okay, so I'm going a lot of offensive linemen, and this guy was a Belichick player who I remember being really excited about because Giants had O-line problems for a while. Nate Soldier, horrible.
Oh my gosh.
He was terrible with the Giants. Oh my God, he was just the Giants just cannot find offensive linemen where they pay them or draft them. Really, besides Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, so Milliner was drafted in 2013, but going off of that, another defensive back who didn't pan out for the Jets was Calvin Pryor. He was just this big, tough safety, and he was just horrible.
All right, number 1, it's got to be Daniel Jones, right? Draft him 6th overall, the next quarterback after Eli. he was overdrafted at the time. Just butt end of jokes with him tripping, kind of just a meme type guy. Never panned out. I think Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback in NFL history to get a second contract.
Yeah, I left some of the Jets quarterbacks off the list just because
you're not going to quarterback.
I mean, I'll do Zach Wilson for this one, but I feel like that's kind of
Zach Wilson.
I feel like the quarterbacks are kind of just like a given, you know?
Yeah,
so
but
I was trying to go a little, yeah. So I'll go Zach Wilson with this one. He just looked like he didn't know how to play football in his time with the Jets.
Okay, so thanks for the call. That was a fun, that was a fun segment.
One.
That was no research either prior, so we just came on the top of our head. I'm sure we missed some total bums, but
I thought this guy tight end, his name was Jason Morrow. I thought he was going to be really good.
Oh wow, yeah.
Do you remember him?
No,
okay.
That should show how much of a bum he was. Okay, so just real quick recap of baseball. We're gonna have a huge spring training preview / baseball preview with the Yankees and Mets next week. But so pitchers and catchers report. The Mets finally brought Alonso back. The reunion, I think we all expected.
Yeah, it's kind of just like a standoff, waiting for each side to give in.
But the Mets are gonna. Their lineup's good. They're gonna be a fun team to watch on offense. They're gonna have a really, really good lineup. We'll get into it more next week, but I think the pitching is gonna be a concern for that team, which a lot of people are gonna talk about. I think the bottom of that order is a little suspicious, but the Mets top 5 to 6 of that order is really, really good.
Especially their top 3.
Top 4 in Vientos.
Yeah, and Vientos, yeah. I don't think that their pitching staff is as big of a concern as
I'm
people.
worried.
They had the same thing last year though, and
I think last year is kind of like finding a pot of gold a little bit. I think that'll be a dedeline thing. And
I think Holmes is going to go over there and become a good starter.
Oh, I disagree. I'm not a Clay Holmes guy.
I mean, I don't want him to.
Can you imagine? He's a great starter.
But it would be our luck.
Yeah, right. And then just quick at the Yankees. Still third base. I mean, my little sister said to me today, she's talking to me about who's playing where. She said, oh, he's playing second. I'm like, oh, Jazz Chisholm. She's like, wait, who's playing third? I said, the Yankees are asking that question. That's the simplest way to sum up that situation for the Yankees right now.
I remember just earlier today, we were talking about this, and the Yankees are counting on 3 young guys already in Volpe, Dominguez, and Wells, and you would think that if the roster stays as is, it would be LeMahieu because they don't want a 4th young guy having to take a big step.
Well, yeah, which is why I don't love – so the reason why I don't love the third base issue is because it's a lot easier said than like, oh, we'll figure it out in July. Okay, but I don't want to think this way, but whether it's an injury or a young guy not stepping up, you almost always need another move at the deadline.
Yeah, and
so you're almost counting on 2 very important needs at the deadline.
Yeah, and the Yankees kind of had that last year where it seemed like we had a lot of holes to fill.
We did.
Last year. It seemed like third base,
first base,
left catcher at the time.
Yeah, you're right. They were looking at catcher
left field,
for a bit.
Yeah.
Bullpen, Jeez, they had
starters.
A lot of holes.
They had a ton of holes.
So I don't think they have that. They definitely don't have that many holes this year. But
who knows, because Wells came out at the end, but like I remember we were having those conversations at that time, like, oh, the Yankees might need a catcher. A lot of it was Trevino though, like the Red Sox running wild on him when he was like one of the best defensive catchers in all of baseball, and then
Wells is more. I think Wells has proven his spot on the team definitely.
Yeah,
I think he's a top 10 catcher in baseball now.
Oh yeah, I agree. Especially him and Adley, their numbers are similar.
Yeah, but we'll get into all this next week. So next week is our baseball episode. Call in, ask your concerns, excitement for the Mets, Yankees. Who's better? Who do you like more? What to expect from both teams. So, anything else, Henry?
No, that's all. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on our socials. Thanks for watching and listening.
Thank you.